So hello and welcome to our 30-minute CPD on pupil workbooks. My name is Charlotte and I've been teaching for around 10 years. I've also been a phonics and literacy lead. I'll just pop over to Faye so that say hello.
Hello, good evening everybody. I'm Faye and I'm part of the Twinkl Phonics training team. Prior to joining Twinkl, I was a primary school teacher, predominantly working within year one, and it's lovely to see you all today and talk all about phonics workbooks.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Faye. So Faye and I will be hosting this event, but we do also have some more of our team members with us today, just so that we can answer all of your questions. And I know that Helen has asked you to pop any questions that you have in today's session into the chat, just so that we've got that time at the end to answer them. So thank you so much for your time, for taking the time out of your busy days to be with us here. I know it's really, really wet, Helen. It is wet and misty over here as well. So I hope you're all staying nice, cozy and warm. And we really hope that you find this useful. So here is what the session will look like. So we're in the introduction right now. So well done, we've already started. Then I'm going to be giving you an overview of the Twinkl Phonics pupil workbooks, and then I'll be signposting you with to some useful resources, and then I'll be handing over to the lovely Faye, who will be diving a bit deeper into those Twinkl Phonics workbooks and what they look like and how you can make those work for you. And then finally we'll be answering your questions that you'll be popping into the chat. So I know Helen mentioned it briefly, but any resources shared with you today, they're in the link that she's popped in the chat, but also they will be hyperlinked in the slides as well and sent to you afterwards. So please do share your questions so that we can answer them. Okay, so I know that we'll be focusing on our pupil workbooks in this session, but we thought it was really important to remind you of all three of our core resources. So these three resources provide everything that you need to teach rigorous and systematic phonics, and do need to be used in order to show fidelity to our programme. When delivering training sessions, we do get a lot of schools asking what to do when you have learners that are confident in the lessons but cannot apply that outside of those lessons. And our first questions to those schools would be, are they using the core resources and are they using them to the full capacity? And they really allow time for learners to slowly build up their confidence in applying those learned skills independently and build up that self-efficacy within reading and writing. So those three core elements are the lesson presentation, the pupil workbook that we'll be focusing on today, and the reading mini book. So what are the workbooks? So the pupil workbook is designed to provide your learners with opportunities to consolidate and practice the core phonics skills that they've learned in those daily phonics lessons. And they really provide evidence of progression for each learner and an opportunity to apply what they've learned through a wide range of activities. And Faye's going to be showing you some of those activities a little bit later. So workbooks for the week can be found in lesson 1. Or they can be downloaded separately, and I'll be sharing this how to find these shortly. They're also available to purchase as physical copies through the schools team as well, so we'll share some details with that at the end. Now, the workbook spans the entire week, and therefore activities could be completed at different parts of the day. So a suggestion might be a start of the day activity as they come into school. But really, how you use them is up to you. You know your learners best. So each workbook has a teacher guidance document, including a list of dictated words or sentences which contain the focus sound or sounds learnt that week. And once learners are really familiar with the structure of the workbook, they should be able to work through most of the activities independently, really allowing that opportunity to spend time working with those learners who really benefit from that further adult support. So where are the workbooks? So if you head to the Twinkl website and you type in the search bar at the top of your page that you can see here on the side. You type in phonics and you will see that some colourful letters come up, and they have sound buttons underneath them and some shapes. So you would select that one and it takes you to our landing page. Now it's really important that you go to that specific landing page so that we know that you are downloading those resources from our validated Twinkl Phonics programme. Then what you would do is you would be on our landing page. You'd be able to tell that you're on our landing page because you would see the DFE flag and you'll see our lovely Twinkl Phonics family. So you can see in this video, I'm scrolling down and I'm finding the pupil workbooks in each level of those lesson pack resources. So here I'm just looking through, I'm scrolling down to the second page. You can see the different levels on the top. I'm going to scroll back to that first page and you can see I've selected that workbook. Alternatively, you can download the lesson 1 of lesson packs for each week, and in lesson 1 you will find our lovely pupil workbooks, and you'll find it with that guidance document that I mentioned as well. So there's 2 different ways that you can find them, and again, as a reminder, you can order them on our page as well. Okay. We wanted to direct you to some useful resources that can really enhance your understanding and delivery of the pupil workbooks. On the top row, you can see what your starting point may be. So here we go. So to get the best out of them, you might choose to read the guidance pack for that specific level. You might look at how it reflects the learning in the lesson plans and take a look at the suggestions in the planning teacher guides. Once you're more familiar with the workbooks and how they marry up to our lessons, you can then start to think about how you'll scaffold your learners and think about specific learner needs. So we've plenty of resources to support your learners who may need additional scaffolds. So these are just 3 suggestions on how you might want to support those pupil workbooks. So you can see that I've added some letter formation resources as well as a mnemonic resource as well, and it's got that lovely visual support and an auditory support as well if you're singing along or if you're saying that along with them. So again, you can use these alongside the activities that Faye is going to share with you on the next slide. And you'll find all of these in our supporting resources on the landing page. So just as you saw it in the video, I'd just scroll a bit further down from the lesson packs. So I'm going to hand over to the lovely Faye now, who's going to go into a bit more detail on those pupil workbooks.
Lovely, thank you, Lottie, or Charlotte, sorry. I'm just going to swap over to my screen so that I can control that. Right, okay, so now Lottie has shown us all about the workbooks and where we can find them. We're going to take a look inside one of the workbooks. So here we have a level 5 week 1 example. So within each session, children will be challenged to a variety of tasks to complete. So firstly, typically, we'll see within that lesson 1 that children are introduced to that focus GPC and the common exception words. Previously within levels 2 to 4 would be tricky words. Here, because we're in a level 5, we've got common exception words. And this is an opportunity really for practicing letter formation, but also practicing the active repetition method that we use within Twinkl Phonics to teach those common exception words. I'm just going to flick through some other examples that I've taken from this workbook. So here we've got activities. I know this is very small. We will be looking at it in a little bit more detail in a moment. So we've got activities that include reading sentences and matching them to a picture. Activities where children practice segmenting to write using these visuals. Here's an activity where children are reading and matching those focus words with that focus GPC. Then we've got reading phoneme spotters, so larger amounts of text where children need to spot that focus GPC within a story. And then a personal favourite of mine, reading and writing their own silly sentences, which the children really enjoy. So the activities within the workbooks can be completed in any order, and you can also choose whether you would like to complete all the practice activities or whether you would like to focus on consolidating specific skills. So we're going to now go to the workbook, this particular workbook, and we are going to see what it looks like inside. Just going to share my screen here. And just to see what order this would look like. So as Lottie has said, when we're downloading the workbooks, you can either download them in lesson 1 of the lesson packs. You'll find that there's a workbook folder within there, or you can download them separately as 1 week's worth of workbooks. Once you download it, within that file, you'll see the pupil workbook and the adult guidance within there. So it's both really important to have the adult guidance as well, because we'll see in a moment where that will be used. So within the workbooks, you've got kind of a title front cover page here where children can write their name. And then as we scroll down, we can see the pages within it. So we've got here level 5, week 1, lesson 1. So we know we're here because it's got a little tab here to remind us. And we can see some of these familiar activities that we highlighted to you earlier. So that focus GPC, letter formation practice. Then we've got those common exception word practice activities. Scroll down, we can see we're still in lesson 1 here, that read and match activity here. And as we come to an end of a lesson, we've also got a nice little self-assessment here for the children to complete if you wish for them to do that. Then as we scroll down, we can see we've moved on to lesson 2 here. So those first 2 pages are lesson 1, then we move to lesson 2. And the activities are a little bit different here. We've got sentence reading, matching pictures, writing words using the focus GPC, and then another common exception activity here within lesson 2. As we scroll down, we move into lesson 3, and we've got that text there for the children for the phoneme spotter, and then sorting words. And that's just one activity there for lesson 3. Then we've also moved down to lesson 4, the silly questions, and then practice writing using those focus words. Then lesson 5, this is where your teacher guidance is going to come into play. So we've got write the sentence your teacher says, and those dictated sentences are within your adult guidance, which is in that same file. So you would dictate those sentences and the children would spell them using the focus GPC. Then as we scroll down within this particular activity book, workbook, we've got the additional activities. So these are optional additions to use if you wish. So we've got writing your own silly sentences. We can see here we've got the Twinkl Phonics level 5 flashcards, which have the mnemonics to support children. And then we've got some additional activities, so practice spelling focus words as well. So that compromises 1 week's worth of the pupil workbook. I'm just going to go back to my slides. Okay. So we just want to highlight and spend some time thinking about some guidance on how long a phonics session should take, and really focusing on where the workbooks would fit into this. So I've just got a quote popping up on the slide. So there is no prescribed way of how your sessions should look, but the reading framework does state here in this quote that by the end of reception, children need about an hour a day to consolidate previous learning, learn new content, and practice and apply what they have learned. So within this hour a day, the workbooks can form part of that practice and apply section here. This quote also suggests here at the end that this could be split into different sessions for different activities. So we'd like to focus on this, just thinking about those pupil workbooks today. So each setting we understand is different. So you may feel that the workbooks work within your ring-fenced phonics session at the same time, you might want to use the activities then. Or alternatively, you can choose to do the activities at different times of the day. So how and when you use the workbooks is completely up to you and the needs of your setting and your learners, and also timetable constraints as well. Although we do need to consider at this point that we need that whole school cohesive approach as well. So making sure that that can be seen across the school. So we're going to have a look at now, we're going to think about how we could make some adjustments to support your learners. So we do understand how timetables can be really full within school settings, and we really want to assure you that you can make these pupil workbooks work for you. So we've got some ideas that are going to come up in a moment to think about how you might make these workbooks work for you, thinking about adjustments to adapt to make them work. So our first one is you may want to choose a particular activity that you feel you need to focus on with the learners. You may have it on the whiteboard, snip it and put it on your interactive whiteboard, and then ask the learners to use a whiteboard or a writing book to complete the activity during the phonics lesson. So this is an example of how you could focus on one of those skills as a whole group. You then might want to choose an activity and again snip an activity, print this out several times and ask the learners to complete this as a morning starter activity or at other parts during the day, whichever works best for you and your timetables. And then we've got another idea. So here you may have noticed that lots of learners are finding a particular area challenging. So here we've got letter formation for the focus graphemes. This is where you might want to choose part of the activity. So here we've got writing those focus words and the children to have that activity within their handwriting lessons, for example. So these are just a few ideas. I'm sure as practitioners, you've got a wealth of ideas, but it's really important at this point also to consider additional adults that you have within your classroom and how best they can support you with this. So you may want to direct them to work with a specific group that need those particular practice on certain skills within the workbooks. So really do consider that with your plan within your planning. So just to kind of finish off and consolidate what we've talked about already. So within your setting, it's really key that you keep fidelity. And Lottie mentioned it at the beginning. And that means compromises are lesson presentations, our workbooks, and our reading mini books that form part of our core provision, our core elements of our programme. And there needs to be evidence that these are being used within your phonics teaching and learning. So obviously we've just focused on workbooks today. So we want to think about also their flexibility within these workbooks. We've already discussed quite a few ideas. There is a wealth of flexibility to really make them work for you. And just to highlight a few of these again. So you can adapt the workbooks to fit the needs of your learners. So pick and choose the ones that work best for you. We've also got this point, so activities can be done at different times of the day. So this is whether this decision needs to happen whether you want them within your daily phonics sessions, or you might have them at different parts of the day in the morning or straight after lunch, for example. And we've got this next point here. So adapting the activities to suit the needs of your learners. So this may be using some of the resources that Charlotte signposted to us at the beginning, thinking about resources like flashcards, letter formation mats available within our Twinkl Phonics programme. Or it may mean that you want to use more multisensory approaches for your learners. So you might want to, for example, use magnetic letters when you're building words before that writing. So you may have some learners who benefit from that, or you may want to have definitely those multisensory approaches like Play-Doh for sound buttons, where children can press the buttons to have that real physical side, kinesthetic side to their teaching and learning. And then finally, we've got this last point, which is considering how other adults can support. So if you are lucky enough to have additional adults within your classroom, really think about how you can use them to support with different focus groups when completing these activities. So whilst we're still keeping that fidelity by using the pupil workbooks, we've shown today that there is lots of flexibility when using them as well. Okay, so I think we're going to stop the recording now so that we can go to some of your questions. I know some have come through the chat, so I'm going to hand back to Helen.